We're back with This is our live Red, White, and Brown, and you are listening to Mira and Michael. We're going to talk about the show that's streaming on Amazon Prime, and it is called Modern Love Mumbai Part One. This is the part one of a three series. The two series we'll see very soon. But what did you feel about part one, Michael?
Yeah, I think this was a great introduction for what is to come. For those of you that don't know, Modern Love Mumbai is sort of a spinoff of the original Modern Love show that takes place in New York City. And in this series here, there's a lot of different kind of one episode or type love stories that we get to explore. We get to see a lot of different relationship issues or other personal issues that people face when approaching relationships and family that are also being taken place in Mumbai and within India. So, really thought, for me, I got to see, kind of the close to close interactions and the conflicts that people do face, the kind of thoughts that people are having to think when approaching relationships, as well as common problems that come across that. So I think this did a great job familiarizing myself with what kind of things can occur.
Absolutely. So this is again, as I said, Amazon's collaboration with New York Times, and now this time around, instead of doing it in New York, they are doing this for Mumbai, Modern Love Mumbai. And actually, I have to tell you, when I looked at it and I was like, oh, another anthology, gosh, that'll be so tiring. But then when I started watching it, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Just the actors, the directors, the entire overreaching theme, very beautifully plotted. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about. There are six stories in this anthology, and I'm going to just discuss these stories one by one and just give you a brief about what these stories are. And some of the actors that are in these stories are Arshad Varsi, there's Chitrangda Singh, there's Fatima Sana Sheikh, Bhupendra Jadawat, Dilip Prabhalarkur, Tanuja, the actress, the yesteryear's legendary actress, Pratik Gandhi, Ranveer Brar, who is actually a celebrity chef as well, Manasi Joshi Roy. There is Talat Aziz, the singer. There's Yo Yang Yang. There's Mei Yang Chang. Oh my God, I'm in love with Mei Yang Chang. Not only his singing, but also, he's a wonderful actor as well. And Vamika Gavi, Nasiruddin Shah, of course, the legend, Sarika, the beautiful Sarika, Danish Rizvi, Asas Chana, Tanvi Azmi, Masaba Gupta, Ritvik Bhaumik, Pratik Babur, Dolly Singh, Adar Malik. So it is full of just inspirational actors, but then the six stories are actually directed by amazing directors whose work you have seen and whose work you have enjoyed. The directors are Shonali Bose, Hansel Mehta, Vishal Bhardwaj, Alankrita Srivastav, Dhruv Sehgal, and Nupur. And if you did not know, when we posted the review of Mumbai Love, Hansel Mehta did retweet our review as well. And we're back with Daisy's All Life show, Red, White, and Brown. And for your listening pleasure, we are talking about Modern Love Mumbai Part 1, which is streaming on Amazon Prime. And Michael, let's do a quick run around of the stories, of the six stories. You take one, I'll take one. How about that?
Sure, would love to. So the first episode is titled My Beautiful Wrinkles, and this is a story about overcoming loss and guilt while living life again. So the premise is an unlikely love story between an older woman and a younger man, and the short breathes a new life into the often dealt, with predicament. However, unlike other tales, where the protagonists, give away the urges and help to learn each other, break the shackles that are pulling them down in their personal lives. Here we really see, kind of the two characters come together and come to an understanding of how the differences, not only between age but what is going on in their own personal lives, come to understand that and help each other out, which whenever you're initially dating someone is something that can be really hard to kind of open up to and get to a point where you can do that, just because early on initially you might be trying to impress the special other. But in this situation here, we see two people that are going through similar situations, and it's great to see them overcome loss and guilt and be able to live a full
Yeah,
life.
I thought that story was really well done because she's like his grandmom's age, and but he feels something for her, and he says that to her. He says, "What's that got to do with my attraction for you?" What's
Yeah.
your age got to do with the fact that I like you? And she doesn't get it. She has so many inhibitions because of conditioning. And then finally she starts rethinking it. And then she's like, yeah, I agree with you. That should have nothing to do with age. And I thought it was really well put together, and definitely very progressive. But I want to talk about Bai, which was another one, which actually was one of the I thought it was very delicately handled in terms of a story. It's not only story of love between two people, but also the family. The best, what I loved about it was, not many. There are not many great interpretations of homosexual love, and that acceptability within the family, where where people would understand that love is love, and that is really well put together here. Pratik actually plays Manzu, a gay Muslim man who grows up in a very conservative family, and he has an overbearing father, and he's torn between his love for Rajveer, who is a chef, and it's this is his acting debut, by the way, and his ailing and ever-doting grandmother, played by Tanuja, the legendary actress. And just how Tanuja and all these other characters really put together the situation so that Pratik, who's playing Manzu, overcomes his inhibitions, his own inhibitions is in his own mind, and that he thinks his family will have to accept love. I think that was so well executed. Really, really loved it. And what I have to say is there's a very amazingly soulful track sung by Sonu Nigam in this anthology, and you will absolutely love that track as well. It is extremely amazing track.
Couldn't agree more. So moving into the third episode, we were going to talk about I Love Thane. So I Love Thane is directed by Drew Segal and stars Masawa Gupta and Ritwik Baumik in the lead, and it deals with the very real struggles of millennials nowadays who are unable to kind of settle down and find a life partner, especially in a world with dating apps where casual intimacy is at their disposal just on their phones. And so in this episode here, it shows Masaba as a landscape designer while Ritwick plays a junior officer at the Thane Municipal Corporation. And here, we really see kind of the process of love slowly and steadily creeping up on them, and slowly, starting to become apparent in their lives, and kind of breaking down, the tradition of, these online dating apps. But not only that, but also kind of breaking down the perceived failures that they've had in life and kind of starting something new. So I really thought that this was a cool episode to really watch, just because it is something that you see a lot of, and kind of take the steering wheel in a lot of people's dating lives, and seems to kind of dictate what you must do in order to do well as a young professional. So I thought this episode presented it very well. I thought it was very well done.
And we're going to talk about Mumbai Dragon, another, the fourth story of this anthology that is streaming on Amazon Prime. It is directed by ace director Vishal Bhardwaj, and it actually stars Yo Yan Yan, there's Mei Yang Chang, Wamika Gabi, and Nasiruddin Shah. And this is the story of a parent who loves their child a bit too much, often suffocating their future relationships. And basically, as a minority, how this mother feels that her son might get taken away from her. So Yo Yan Yan and Meng Chang plays a Chinese mother and son respectively. For people who do not know, India has a very vibrant Chinese community. There are Indian Chinese people as well, and the northeastern states of India, including the northernmost state as well. It borders China, so a lot of people in those areas are probably Mongol descent or Chinese descent. So, but they are Indians. They're really not Chinese. They speak Indian languages, and they are all Indian nationals. So this is a story of, but some of the traditions are Chinese. Of course, the food is Chinese. A lot of it is comes from mainland China. So it's amazing how less people know about how big and diverse India is, and how this is not really mainstream in Bollywood, and all of a sudden this little story makes that culture mainstream here again. So the story, the son wants to become he's a dentist. He's trying to be a dentist like his father, but his passion to be a singer. So his girlfriend, who is the dentist with whom he is working, his daughter, um, tells him to follow his passion. And his they are Gujarati, vegetarian, non-garlic eating people. And this is what hits the mother, and mother doesn't like it. She thinks they're very different from them. She thinks that culturally they're a mismatch. And she tries her best to, blackmail her son into leaving her, but doesn't happen, or going back to dentistry as a profession, but doesn't happen. So a very sweet little story of how the mother deals with that entire angst of, oh my God, I'm losing my son to people I don't want to lose them to. Really well done.
And with that, I think we can transition into the fifth episode, which is directed by Shonali Bose and starring Fatima Sana Sheikh with Bhupendra Jatawat and Dilip Padvakar. Radharani deals with the hustle and bustle of living in Mumbai, very similar to New York City, and loving and finding oneself through life's ups and downs. So Fatima plays Lali, a Kashmiri girl who ends up getting married to a man of a lower caste against her parents' wishes. But life takes a turn for Lali when her husband Luftvi leaves her overnight. But after having to overcome initial anger and shock at being left alone and having to live life, after being left, she manages to live her life on her own terms and prioritizing her own wishes and desires. Fatima steals the show as the exuberant, zealous, and feisty Lali, and in her own words, takes the flyover and finds herself in the process by overturning her setback into the best thing that ever happened to her. I think this episode really shows that you can go through hardship, you can have loss, you can have people leave, but it's still very, very possible to live a very full life, to be able to continue on, and to be able to take control of your life once again, which I think is something that we all find very hard to do in these situations. So really appreciated this episode.
Absolutely. I thought this one was really nice. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I especially enjoyed Fatima Sana Sheikh screaming and shouting in Kashmiri, and her accent, highly Kashmiri. And by the way, for listeners and viewers who did not know, she is Kashmiri. So it was easy for her to come up with that accent, though sometimes, in her conversation, she loses it a bit. But yeah, you can only catch it if you have a very trained ear. But I want to talk about Cutting Chai, the last one. And that is directed by Nupur Asthana. It stars Chitrangada Singh, the beautiful Chitrangada Singh, and Arshad Varsi. And it is just how, what you choose in life and how it kind of turns up. It's a really heartwarming, small little story where she's a writer, Chitrangada plays a writer, and she's unable to finish her dream of writing a novel, and she's frustrated and irritated with her husband, Arshad, played by Arshad, who's Daniel, I think his name in the in the anthology series. She you almost feel that she's so frustrated that she might just walk out on him, but then she mulls over life's choices while waiting for a train to go to an event, and then she kind of starts rethinking about her marriage. She starts rethinking about how she has treated him. She starts rethinking about her situations. She also rethinks the choices that she has made in her life, and then that makes her realize that she did not make a wrong choice. It's just that she's in that state of mind where she's feeling a certain way, and if she would work it out, it would work out. So just a little story of her realizing and reorganizing her priorities along with him, kind of becomes a really cute little story. So yeah, I thought the entire Mumbai love was modern love. Mumbai was a very heartwarming concoction of emotions and entertaining watch. What did you think, Michael?
I definitely agree, and I 100% guarantee that anyone who watches this show will have, some episode that, relates or touches them in some sort of way. And I really do hope too, watching this will be able to provide some sort of, insight, or maybe, maybe help you out in any kind of scenario you find yourself in life. I think this series really just kind of explores life, and the problems that come with it, and even at towards the end of some of these episodes kind of alludes to ways to move on and ways to, continue forward. So if that doesn't give you inspiration, I really hope that this show does.
Absolutely. And with this, we gotta wrap up the show for today. And it was fun speaking with you guys. And we'll be back next week with more views, reviews, and news. And for